Real Madrid Club de Football is a professional football club based in Madrid, Spain. The club was formed in 1902 as Madrid Football Club, and played its first competitive match on 13 May, 1902, when it lost 3-1 in the semi-final of the Campeonato de Copa de S.M. Alfonso, against FC Barcelona. 1. Real Madrid played against other local clubs in various regional tournaments, that served as qualifiers for the Copa del Rey, from 1902 to 1940. In 1929, the club became one of the founding members of La Liga, Spain's first national league. As of 2024, Real is one of only 3 clubs never to have been relegated from the top level of Spanish football, the others being Athletic Bilbao and Barcelona. From 1902 to 1929, Real won the Copa del Rey 5 times and the regional championship 15 times. Real Madrid had a successful start in La Liga, finishing second in the competition's first season, and winning the league in 1932 for the first time. In the 1947-48 season, Madrid finished 11th, which remains, as of 2024, the club's lowest final position. Real Madrid won La Liga 4 times and the European Cup 5 times during the 1950s. However, the most successful period for the club in terms of domestic titles was the 1960s, when Real Madrid won 8 league championships. It won its first double of League Championship and National Cup in 1962. Real is also the only Spanish football team to win 5 consecutive titles, a feat which it has achieved on 2 occasions, 1960-65 and 1985-90. In addition to their domestic success, Real Madrid's reputation as a major club was established by their outstanding record in the European Cup. To date, they have been crowned champions of Europe a record 15 times. Alfredo Di Stefano, Ferenc Puskás, and other famous players helped the club win the European Cup 5 times in a row between 1956 and 1960, which included a memorable 7-3 Hamden Park final against German side Eintracht Frankfurt in 1960. The club won the trophy for a 6th time in 1966, with a team known as the Yi that defeated Yugoslavian club Partizan 2-1 in the final while being composed entirely of Spanish-born players, a first in the competition. They were also runners-up in 1962, 1964 and 1981. Winning the competition 5 consecutive times saw Real permanently awarded the original cup and earning the right to wear a multiple winner badge since 2000. They have also won the UEFA Cup twice and were twice runners-up in the European Cup Winners' Cup. In 1996, President Lorenzo Sons appointed Fabio Capello as coach. Although his tenure lasted only 1 season, Real Madrid were proclaimed league champions and several important players arrived at the club, such as Roberto Carlos, Predrag Mijatovic, Dava Juka and Clarence Seedorf, to strengthen a squad that already boasted the likes of Raúl, Fernando Hierro and Fernando Redondo. As a result, Real Madrid, with the addition of Fernando Morientes in 1997, finally ended its 32-year wait for the 7th European Cup in 1998 under manager Jupp Heynckes, defeating Juventus 1-0 in the final thanks to a goal from Mijatovic. Real Madrid would go on to win again in 2000, 2002, under manager Vicente del Bosque, 2014, under manager Carlo Ancelotti, 2016, 2017, 2018, under manager Zinedine Zidane, 2022 and 2024, again under Ancelotti. Madrid are also 8-time winners of the Intercontinental Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, defeating Peñarol, Vasco da Gama, Club Olimpia, San Lorenzo, Kashima Antlers, Gremio, Al Ain and Al Hilal in 1960, 1998, 2002, 2014, 2016, 2017, 2018 and 2022 respectively. Madrid FC team in 1906. The club won its second Copa del Rey that year. Real Madrid's origins go back to when football was introduced to Madrid by the academics and students of the Institución Libre de Enseñanza. They founded Sociedad Sky Football in December 1897, commonly known as La Sociedad, the Society, as it was the only club based in Madrid, playing on Sunday mornings at Moncloa. In 1900, conflict between members caused some of them to leave and create a new club, called Nueva Sociedad de Football, New Society of Football, to distinguish themselves from Sky Football. Nueva Sociedad was founded in October 1900 in a tavern on Calle de la Cruz. The dissenters were led by Julian Palacios, recognized as the first Real Madrid president. The other dissenters included brothers and future presidents of Real Madrid, Juan Podros and Carlos Podros, as well as Adolfo Melendez, Antonio Neira, Manolo Mendia, Varela, and the Giroud brothers, Armando, Jose and Mario. In October 1901, Nueva Sociedad de Football was renamed as Madrid Football Club. The first field the club used to play matches was a camp in Monclo, located on the current Vallehermoso Street. They utilized the El Solar de Estrada in 1901, which was owned by Claudio Estrada, a member of the club and the father-in-law of President Julian Palacios. The club later played matches at the Tiro del Pichon between 1901 and 1902. On the 6th of March, 1902, after a new board presided by Juan Podros had been elected, Madrid Football Club was officially founded. The Podros brothers summoned other football enthusiasts to a meeting in the back room of El Capricho, the family's fashion business. They viewed football as a mass sport that should be accessible to representatives of all social classes, and thought the new club should embody that idea. The brothers proposed the name, Madrid Football Club, which was unanimously accepted. The membership fee was also set, 2 pesetas a month, and the color of the shirt was chosen to be white in honor of a famous English team Corinthian, which Juan Podros had met on one of his trips. The club had 28 founding socios, members. The club played its first ever match on the 9th of March, 1902. It featured 2 teams of Madrid FC players and was played between the streets of Alcalá and Goya, next to the old Plaza de Toros. The 2 teams wore blue and red respectively, with the blue team winning the match 1-0. Madrid paid an annual rent of 150 pesetas for the pitch, and the players changed into their playing kits in a tavern called La Torina. The regulations governing the club, comprising 22 articles, were drafted on the 18th of April and approved by Provincial Governor José Sánchez Guerra on the 22nd of April, 1902. Madrid FC played its first match against another club on the 2nd of May, 1902 at the Hippodromo in a friendly against New Football Club that ended in a 1-1 draw. Carlos Podros, wanting to demonstrate that the club could organize matches against other teams, helped organize the 1902 Copa de la Coronation in honor of the coronation of Alfonso XIII. He convinced the mayor of Madrid, Alberto Aguilera, to donate a silver cup as the prize for the winning team. Podros contacted the captains of FC Barcelona, Club Español de Football, Vizcaya, a combination of Athletic Club and Bilbao Football Club, and New Football Club, and invited them to enter the competition. The event was the first national football tournament played in Spain and was held at the Hippodromo. Madrid FC contested its first competitive match in the semi-finals of the Copa de la Coronation on 13 May 11-6. Arthur Johnson scored the club's first competitive goal in a 1-3 loss to FC Barcelona. This was also the first El Clásico. 16. Madrid secured its first competitive victory defeating Club Español de Football, now RCD Español, 3-2 on the 16th of May, 1902. On the 23rd of May, 1902, Alfonso Albanese became the first player to leave FC Barcelona in order to join Madrid. Madrid was invited to participate in festivities at El Escorial in August 1902, part of which included a match against Monclo. The match was played next to the facade of the monastery on the 11th of August and ended with a 6-5 score favorable to Madrid. The club was awarded 2 ceramic plates, which represent the first the Madrid Association of Football Clubs, a football association responsible for the administration of the sport in Madrid, in December 1902. He also became the association's first president. The association organized the 1903 Campeonato de Madrid, the inaugural edition of the Regional Championship of Madrid. Note 1. Podros resigned as president of the association in December 1903, and it dissolved in March 1904. Madrid played their first match outside of the community of Madrid against Club Español de Football at the Parc de la Ciutadella in Barcelona on the 24th of February 1903. The club participated in the inaugural edition of the Copa del Rey held at the Hippodromo in 1903. Madrid defeated RCD Español 4-1 in the competition's first match on the 6th of April, 1903. The club finished runners-up after losing 3-2 in the final to Athletic Bilbao. The match was also the first El Vigo Clásico. The club faced a major crisis during the 1903-04 season. A dispute between the members in October 1903 resulted in several players leaving the club to form Club Español de Madrid. They included Antonio Neira, Enrique Arruabarrena, Perez, Manuel Valerino, Ramon Cardenas, and brothers Mario, Armando and José Giralt. 5 other Madrid players also left the club to join Monclo, 21-11. This precipitated a merger with Moderno on the 30th of January, 1904. Carlos Podros was elected president post-merger. The club officially adopted the name Madrid y Moderno due to the merger, although most members, players, and fans generally continued to refer to it as Madrid. The club dropped the Moderno name before the next season. Madrid retroactively secured the 1903 Campeonato de Madrid trophy, won by Moderno, as a result of their merger. The club won the first Madrid derby, defeating Atletico Madrid 6-0 on the 13th of November, 1904 in a friendly at the Plaza de Toros. Madrid was a founding member of the Federación Internacional de Football Association, FIFA, on the 21st of May, 1904. Madrid qualified for the 1905 Copa del Rey by defeating Monclo 2-0 to win the 1905 Campeonato de Madrid at the Plaza de Toros on the 2nd of April, 1905. Madrid defeated Athletic Bilbao 1-0 in the 1905 Copa del Rey final thanks to a goal by Manuel Prast, to win the first official title in their history. The club secured 4 consecutive titles by winning again in 1906, 1907 and 1908, becoming the first team to win 4 consecutive Copa del Rey titles. Madrid was allowed to keep the original trophy following its 3rd consecutive victory in 1907. The club also won 4 consecutive regional championships between 1905 and 1908. On the 23rd of October, 1905, Madrid organized a friendly against French side Gallia FC to commemorate the visit of French President Émile Loubet to Madrid. It was the club's first match against a foreign side and the first international match to take place in Madrid. In 1907, Madrid lost a match to a team of seminarians from Royal English College in Valladolid, with Edward Power scoring 5 goals in a 6-2 victory. In 1957, then-club president Santiago Bernabeu was quoted as saying that the game changed the whole history of football in Spain by showing us how football should be played. Madrid became one of the founding sides of the Royal Spanish Football Federation on the 4th of January, 1909, when club president Adolfo Melendez signed the foundation agreement of the Spanish Football Association. Club vice president and player José Angel Berraondo, who was instrumental in helping Madrid secure 4 Copa del Rey titles, left the club in 1909. He returned to his hometown of San Sebastian and became one of the founding members of Real Sociedad. 6. Arthur Johnson was appointed as manager of Madrid FC in 1910, becoming the first manager in the club's history. Santiago Bernabeu made his debut for the club on the 3rd of March, 1912, when he was only 16 years old in a friendly against English Sports Club. In 1912, Madrid moved to their first permanent home ground called Campo de Redonal, after previously moving between some minor grounds. The venue was inaugurated on the 31st of October, 1912, with a match against Sporting Club de Iron. Madrid secured their 6th regional championship during the 1912-13 season and 3 consecutive regional titles between 1916 and 1918. The semi-finals of the 1916 Copa del Rey involved 4 matches between Madrid and FC Barcelona. Madrid defeated Barcelona 4-2 in the second replay match to qualify for the final, where it lost to Athletic Bilbao. The club won its 5th Copa del Rey trophy in 1917, defeating Arenas Club de Getxo in the final, and won its 10th regional championship during the 1919-20 season. The club's name was changed to Real Madrid Football Club after King Alfonso XIII granted the title of Real, Spanish for royal, to the club on the 29th of June, 1920. The royal patronage also permitted the club to add the royal crown to its crest. Real Madrid visited Italy in 1920 and played several friendlies against local sides including Bologna, US Livorno, and Genoa, marking the first foreign tour in its history. Santiago Bernabeu left the club to join Athletic Madrid ahead of the 1920-21 season. He would only play 1 match before rejoining Real Madrid in 1921, 36-37, the Madrid team wore black armbands in a match against Athletic Madrid on 5-March 1922, in honor of the deaths of Madrid player Sotiro Aranguren and Bilbao player Pichichi, becoming the first team to make such a gesture. The club had to leave the Campo de O'Donnell in 1923, because the owner wanted to develop the land, and adopted the Campo de Ciudad Lineal as their new home stadium. The ground was leased to Madrid by the heirs of urban planner Arturo Soria. It was the first grass-playing field in the club's history, contained a pitch that was 108 meters long by 68 meters wide, and had a capacity for 8,000 spectators. Madrid defeated Real Union 2-0 in the inaugural match played at the Ciudad Lineal on the 29th of April, 1923. Construction of the Estadio Chamartín was completed in 1924, and it would serve as Madrid's home stadium until the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium opened in 1947. The Chamartín was inaugurated on the 17th of May, 1924, with a 3-2 victory over Newcastle United. Real Madrid embarked on its first tour of England in 1925, playing friendlies against Newcastle United, Birmingham City and Tottenham Hotspur. Although the club lost all 3 matches, it received praise from the British press for its talent and playing style. Real Madrid switched to wearing black shorts for the 1925-26 season. However, following a series of poor results, club president Pedro Pirog switched back to the all-white kit. The club toured the Americas for the first time in 1927, visiting Argentina, Uruguay, Peru, Cuba, Mexico, and the United States over a period of 3.5 months. During this period, Real Madrid continued its regional dominance in the Campeonato Regional Centro, winning the championship in the 1921-22, 1922-23, 1923-24, 1925-26, and 1926-27 seasons. Madrid reached the 1924 Copa del Rey final but lost to Real Union. The Copa Federación Centro, a football competition contested by clubs from the Castile region, and a second-tier competition to the Campeonato, was first held between the 6th of May and the 17th of June, 1923, and won by Real Madrid. The next edition was held in 1928 and was also won by Madrid. Establishment of La Liga. Real Madrid participated in the Torneo de Campeones during the 1927-28 season. The competition involved the 6 teams that had previously won the Copa del Rey, and was played with a makeshift schedule. The teams had been scheduled to play each other in a double round-robin format. However, all matches could not be played, and some teams, including Real, only played 9 games. The Torneo de Campeones served as a rehearsal for the establishment of La Liga, the first national football league in Spain, in the following season. Real Madrid led the inaugural 1929 La Liga season for the first 10 match days. However, after dropping points in the next 3 games, they dropped to third behind Club de Getxo and then Barcelona. A string of 4 victories enabled Madrid to retake the lead ahead of the last match, but a loss to Athletic Bilbao on the final match day meant they finished runners-up, just 1 point behind Barcelona. Madrid reached the finals of the Copa del Rey in 1928-29 and 1930, but lost on both occasions. Real Madrid acquired goalkeeper Ricardo Zamora from RCD Espanyol for 150,000 pesetas, €900, in 1930. He made his debut on the 5th of October, 1930 against Athletic Madrid in the Campeonato Regional Centro. On the 14th of April, 1931, the arrival of the Second Spanish Republic caused the club to lose the title Real and the royal crown on its emblem, going back to being named Madrid Football Club. Madrid won its first Primera Division title in the 1931-32 season, finishing the league unbeaten. They retained the title the following year, equaling Athletic Bilbao for most league title wins, and were close to clinching the domestic double, but lost the 1933 Copa del Presidente de la República final to Bilbao 1-2. After a gap of 17 years, the club would secure their 6th domestic cup in 1934, defeating Valencia 2-1. Madrid won their 7th Copa in 1936, losing to Barcelona 2-1. The club consistently finished as runners-up in La Liga between 1933-34 and 1935-36. In the regional championship, Madrid won a record 8 consecutive Campeonato Regional Centro titles between 1928-29 and 1935-36, winning a record 23 regional championships in total. No football competitions were held in Spain for 3 seasons between 1936-37 and 1938-39 due to the Spanish Civil War. Madrid finished 4th in the 1939-40 La Liga season, the first one held after the Civil War. The 1939 Campeonato Mancomunado Centro, where Madrid finished runners-up to Athletic Aviation, was the last edition of the regional championship. The club reached the final of the 1940 Copa del Generalissimo, Note 2, but finished runners-up. On the 1st of January, 1941, Madrid Football Club changed their name to Real Madrid Club de Football and restored the royal crown on their crest, 41-42. Real Madrid finished 6th, 2nd and 10th in the league in 1940-41, 1941-42 and 1942-43 respectively. On the 13th of June, 1943, Madrid beat Barcelona 11-1 in a controversial second-leg match of the 1943 Copa del Generalissimo semi-finals, 43. It remains the largest victory margin in the history of El Clásico. According to football writer Sid Lowe, there have been relatively few mentions of the game since, and it is not a result that has been particularly celebrated in Madrid. Indeed, the 11-1 occupies a far more prominent place in Barcelona's history. This was the game that first formed the identification of Madrid as the team of the dictatorship and Barcelona as its victims. Fernando Argila, Barcelona's reserve goalkeeper from the 1943 match, said, "There was no rivalry. Not, at least, until that game." Madrid lost to Athletic Bilbao 0-1 in the final. The Galactico A. Perez era, 2000-2006. In July 2000, Florentino Perez was elected club president, vowing to erase the club's debt and modernize the club's facilities, though the primary electoral promise that propelled Perez to victory was the signing of then Barcelona star Luis Figo. During the campaign, Perez claimed he had an agreement with the Portuguese winger that would see Figo move to the Bernabeu should Perez be elected. On July 16, Perez won the election and indeed, 8 days later, Figo was presented with the number 10 shirt for Madrid. Days later, surrounded by controversy, Real Madrid idol Fernando Redondo, who had openly supported Perez's opponent Lorenzo Sons, was sold to Italian giants Milan. During the summer of 2000, Real Madrid signed Claude Markhalil, Albert Celids, Flavio Conceição, Cesar Sanchez, Pedro Muniz and Santiago Solari, although aside from Markhalil and Conceição, the rest had been signed prior to the election of Perez. Expectations were high as Los Blancos began the 2000-01 season with the possibility of winning 5 trophies. The club, however, stumbled at the first test, losing the 2000 UEFA Super Cup by a score of 1-2 to 2000 UEFA Cup champions Galatasaray. Later, an injury to Fernando Morientes left Real Madrid without a centre-forward, but manager Vicente del Bosque improvised by using youth team graduate Guti in the role, with Real Madrid coping and making good start to both their domestic and European campaigns. They were, however, defeated 2-0 at the Camp Nou against rivals Barcelona and were later eliminated from the Copa del Rey by lowly Toledo, as well as losing the Intercontinental Cup final to a Boca Juniors side led by Martín Palermo and Juan Roman Riquelme. Nonetheless, Real Madrid recovered form and went top of the league table in mid-January, a position they would not relinquish on their way to ultimately winning the title. Madrid also advanced from the second group stage of the Champions League to face Galatasaray in the quarter-finals. Los Merengues lost the first leg in Istanbul 3-2, but recovered to win the tie after a 3-0 victory at the Bernabeu. This would then set up a replay of the 1999-2000 Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich. This year, however, Real Madrid would not reach the final, losing 1-3 on aggregate to the eventual champions. Despite the setback, on the 26th of May, Madrid would crown themselves champions of the First Division with an emphatic 5-0 win over Alaves at the Bernabeu. 2 goals by Raul and 1 each by Guti, Fernando Hierro and Ivonne Helguera would ensure victory and Real Madrid's 28th league title with 2 matches left to play. After reaching an agreement to rezone and sell the Ciudad Deportiva, Perez went on to sign Zinedine Zidane in 2001, Ronaldo in 2002 and David Beckham in 2003. The media began referring to the team as Los Galacticos. The strategy, initially dubbed Zidane's Y Pavones, meant to integrate world stars and youth team graduates together on the squad. It is debatable whether the gamble paid off, as despite winning the UEFA Champions League and an Intercontinental Cup in 2002, followed by La Liga in 2003, the club failed to win a major trophy for the next 3 seasons. Off the field, the Zidane's Y Pavones policy resulted in increased financial success based on the exploitation of the club's high marketing potential around the world, particularly in Asia. 2003-04 season. Zinedine Zidane, left, and David Beckham, right, were 2 prominent Galacticos. The few days after capturing the 2002-03 league title were mired with controversy. The first controversial decision came when Perez sacked winning coach Vicente Del Bosque after Real's sporting director claimed that Del Bosque was not the right man for the job. They wanted someone young to shake up the team. The turning atmosphere continued when Madrid legend and captain Fernando Hierro left the club after a disagreement with management, as did Steve McManaman. However, the club toured Asia in pre-season and introduced newly signed Galactico David Beckham. Perez and his directors refused to renew Claude Markalile's contract with an improved salary, upsetting Markalile, who asked for a transfer, eventually moving to Chelsea. In the final days of the transfer window, Fernando Morientes also left the club, joining French Ligue 1 side Monaco on loan. Real Madrid, with newly appointed coach Carlos Queiroz, began their domestic league slowly after a hard-fought win over Real Betis. Doubts of the team were quelled, however, when Madrid won 7-2 at home over Real Valladolid. The second half of the season then saw the team giving playing time to youngsters and academy graduates, including Borja, Alvaro Mejia, Antonio Núñez and Juanfran, as Queiroz opted to rotate his squad. Real Madrid also topped their group in the Champions League, advancing to the quarter-finals after defeating Bayern Munich in the round of 16 2-1 on aggregate. However, Madrid's on-loan striker Fernando Morientes punished his team in the quarter-finals, as Madrid saw Monaco progress 5-5 on aggregate via the away goals rule and move on to the semi-finals. Madrid nonetheless kept their Liga form high, leading the table by 8 points over second-placed Valencia in February. A poor run of form would await them, however, as they were beaten for the first time at the Bernabeu that season at the hands of Osasuna, 0-3. They recovered their points lead after a win at the Vicente Calderón Stadium over city rivals Atletico Madrid, but more disappointments quickly followed. They lost their final 5 league games at home to Mallorca, Barcelona, and Real Sociedad, and also lost away at both Real Murcia and Deportivo de la Coruña. These defeats allowed all of Valencia, Barça, and Deportivo to leapfrog them in the table and end the year in the top 3, respectively, as Real ended the season in a disappointing 4th. Their poor performances continued as they lost the final of the Copa del Rey to Real Zaragoza. Shortly after the end of the season, Queiroz was sacked and replaced by ex-Real Madrid player José Antonio Camacho. 2004-05 season. Camacho highlighted the team's poor defensive performances and persuaded Florentino Perez to spend a total of €45 million on both Argentine defender Walter Samuel and English centre-back Jonathan Woodgate from Roma and Newcastle United, respectively, but failed to sign Arsenal's midfield general Patrick Vieira due to his boldness of asking for a Galactico-like paycheck in the likeness of Luis Figo's, Zinedine Zidane's, Ronaldo's and David Beckham's. The summer of 2004 also saw the sale of Cameroonian striker Samuel Eto'o, who had been previously loaned out to Mallorca, to arch-rivals Barcelona. In addition to the defensive additions, English striker Michael Owen was bought from Liverpool, but the player never settled at Real Madrid. Somewhat ironically, Eto'o would go on to achieve great success with Barcelona in just his first season with the team. Camacho resigned as head coach because of his team's poor performances and was replaced by Mariano Garcia Ramon. Garcia Ramon's last game was a loss at the hand of Sevilla, where the eventual champions Barca were 6 points clear from their nearest rivals, and Madrid sitting in lowly 5th. Ramon was replaced by Vanderlei Luxemburgo after the winter break, who then signed Thomas Gravesend from Everton to fill the hole in midfield. Madrid failed to progress to the quarter-finals of the Champions League and in the Copa del Rey, but under Luxemburgo, Madrid fought hard to earn second place with 80 points, 4 points behind Barcelona. 2005-06 season. The 2005-06 season began with several new signings, including Julio Baptista, €20 million, Robinho, €30 million, and Sergio Ramos, €30 million. However, Luxemburgo was not able to find the right formula on the pitch, as Real Madrid's poor form continued and hitting rock bottom after a humiliating 0-3 loss at the hands of Barcelona at the Bernabeu. Luxemburgo would eventually resign and be replaced by Juan Ramón López Caro, the former manager of Real Madrid Castilla. A brief return to form came to an abrupt halt after losing the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-finals 6-1 to Zaragoza. Shortly after, Real Madrid were eliminated from the Champions League for a fourth successive year, this time by Arsenal. On the 27th of February 2006, Florentino Perez resigned as club president. 49. Real Madrid eventually managed to finish second in the league but did not pose a serious threat to defending champions Barcelona. The Calderón era, 2006-2009. 2006-07 season. On July 2, 2006, Ramón Calderón was elected as club president and subsequently appointed Fabio Capello as the new head coach and Predrag Mijatovic as the new sporting director. As new manager of Real Madrid, Capello signed 2006 FIFA World Cup winning captain Fabio Cannavaro and Emerson, both from embattled Juventus, for a total sum of €23 million, Ruud van Nistelrooy from Manchester United for €15 million, Mamadou Diarra from Lyon for €26 million, and on a last-minute trade loan José Antonio Reyes, with Julio Baptista going the other way after a disappointing stint at Madrid. However, Calderón failed to sign Milan's Kaká, Arsenal's Cesc Fabregas and Chelsea's Arjen Robben, as he had previously promised. Nonetheless, during the January transfer window, he did manage to sign Fluminense left-back Marcelo, €6.5 million, River Plate forward Gonzalo Higuaín, €13 million, and Boca Juniors midfielder Fernando Gago, €18 million. On the 16th of January 2007, Calderón made some very unfortunate comments about the behavior of some players in the squad and the Santiago Bernabéu fans, which has put the club in a delicate situation. 50. One of the players that Calderón criticized was David Beckham, who, in January 2007, agreed to a deal to play for the LA Galaxy of Major League Soccer, MLS, at the end of that season. Among others to criticize Beckham was manager Fabio Capello, who at the time vowed never to select Beckham for the team again, although he later withdrew his words. At the end of January, striker Ronaldo left the club for €7.5 million for Milan. On the 9th of February 2007, Capello allowed Beckham back onto Real's starting 11 in an away match against Real Sociedad. Beckham played well and scored the equalizing goal in the match, a 2-1 triumph. On the 24th of February 2007, the Madrid derby between Atletico and Real at the Vicente Calderón finished in a 1-1 draw, with goals coming from Fernando Torres and Gonzalo Higuaín for Atletico and Real respectively. On the 7th of March 2007, Real Madrid failed to reach the quarter-finals of the Champions League, stifled by Bayern Munich's strong home performance. Despite winning the home leg 3-2, they lost 2-1 at the Allianz Arena in Munich and were eliminated on an away goals tiebreaker. Bayern also scored the fastest goal in the Champions League during that match, after Roberto Carlos lost the ball after kickoff, which led to Roy Mackay scoring in 10 seconds. On the 10th of March 2007, Real Madrid contested the Clásico against Barcelona at the Camp Nou. Real Madrid took the lead 3 times after 2 goals from Ruud van Nistelrooy and 1 from Sergio Ramos, but were pegged back by a hat-trick from Lionel Messi, including an injury-time equalizer. Despite the sending off of Oliga, the Clásico ended 3-3. Real Madrid managed to find their form consistently for the first time all season as they managed to win 7 out of 8 of the final 12 games, including a 2-1 home win over Valencia on the 21st of April 2007 and another 3-2 home win over Sevilla on the 6th of May 2007. Calderón then went on to say that if the team keep up their great play, he was confident Real Madrid will win the league title and end their 4-year wait for a major trophy on June 17. On the 12th of May 2007, despite not having Robinho and Beckham on the pitch, due to separate yellow cards given in the previous match against Sevilla, Real Madrid took over first place in the La Liga for the first time all season by defeating Espanyol 4-3, coming back from 1-3 first-half deficit. Los Blancos were able to avoid a 3-3 draw thanks to an 89th-minute goal by Gonzalo Higuaín. The Sunday after, Barca dropped points with a 1-1 draw to struggling Real Betis. By virtue of their superior head-to-head record, Real Madrid sat at the top of the Liga table with 4 crucial matches left to play. The following Sunday, Real managed to beat Recreativo de Huelva 2-3 at the Nuevo Colombino. With the score tied at 2-2, Real Madrid looked set to return the lead back to rivals Barcelona until Roberto Carlos scored at the end of the match from a Fernando Gago assist, and the squad left Huelva with just 3 games left to play against, in order, Deportivo, Zaragoza and Mallorca. On the 26th of May 2007, Real Madrid put in another excellent performance to defeat Deportivo 3-1 at the Bernabeu. This victory made it 6 wins in a row for Real Madrid, with goals from Sergio Ramos, Raul and Ruud van Nistelrooy securing the win. On the 9th of June, Real played their penultimate league fixture against Zaragoza at La Romareda. The match began badly when Real Madrid were forced to change their starting lineup mere minutes before the start of the match when young defender Miguel Torres suffered an injury during warm-up, tearing his hamstring. In the game, Zaragoza led Real 2-1 near the end of the match, while Barcelona were also winning against Espanyol 2-1. Real's title challenge looked to be over. A late Van Nistelrooy equalizer, however, followed by a last-minute Raul Temudo goal for Espanyol, sprang Real Madrid's title hopes back into their favour. Sevilla were also held 0-0 away against Mallorca, which meant that a win at home against Mallorca would effectively secure Los Merengues their 30th Spanish league title. The title was won on the 17th of June, where Real faced Mallorca at the Bernabeu, while Barcelona and Sevilla faced Gimnàstic de Tarragona and Villarreal, respectively. At half-time, Real was 0-1 down, while Barcelona had surged ahead into a 0-3 lead in Tarragona. However, 3 goals in the last half an hour secured Real Madrid a 3-1 win and their first league title since 2003. The first goal came from José Antonio Reyes, who scored after a good work from Higuaín. An own goal followed by another delightful goal from Reyes allowed Real to begin celebrating the title. Thousands of Real Madrid fans began going to Plaza de Cibeles to celebrate the title. 2007-08 and 2008-09 seasons. Real Madrid players celebrate their 2008 Supercopa de España win. On the 25th of August, Real Madrid kicked off the season in a derby against city rivals Atletico Madrid at the Santiago Bernabéu. It was a highly entertaining display from both sides, but Real managed to win 2-1, with goals from Raul and Wesley Sneijder for Real, while Sergio Aguero scored for Atletico. It was a great start for Real as they showed skill and that they were adapting to the new style of play new manager Bernd Schuster had brought in. On the 28th of August, Sevilla's Antonio Puerta died after 3 days in the hospital. The Santiago Bernabéu trophy, which Real Madrid was about contend for against Sporting CP, was cancelled in honor of Puerta. On the 2nd of September, Real Madrid managed to win 5-0 against Villarreal at El Madrigal, with 2 goals from Sneijder, 1 from Raul, 1 from Ruud van Nistelrooy and 1 from Guti. Real extended their winning streak to 3 after they beat Almeria at home before earning a well-deserved 1-1 draw against Real Valladolid, with Javier Saviola scoring the equalizer 3 minutes from final time. 4 days later, Real remained unbeaten as they beat Real Betis 2-0 at the Bernabeu, with goals from Raul and an amazing bicycle kick from Julio Baptista. Real continued their unbeaten run under Schuster by beating Getafe 0-1 away to ensure Los Blancos remain at the summit of La Liga. Real began their European campaign well, defeating German side Werder Bremen 2-1 at home thanks to goals from Raul and Van Nistelrooy and topping their group over Olympiacos, Werder Bremen and Lazio, respectively. However, they lost in the first knockout round against Roma, 4-2 on aggregate. On the 9th of December 2008, it was announced Bernd Schuster had been sacked as manager and that ex-Tottenham Hotspur manager Juan Ramos would replace him, 51, that season ended up being one of the most disastrous in the club's history. Real was knocked out of the Champions League at the round of 16 stage for the fifth time in a row, losing to Liverpool 0-5 on aggregate, crashed out of the Copa del Rey to third-tier side Real Union, and was embarrassed by Barcelona at the Santiago Bernabeu with a humiliating 2-6 loss, which all but confirmed the league title for Barca that went on to win the treble. Madrid then lost their final 4 league games to cap off the disastrous campaign. Second Florentino Perez era, 2009 to present. Cristiano Ronaldo was the club's most expensive signing when he joined in 2009, costing €94 million. On the 1st of June 2009, Florentino Perez regained Real Madrid's presidency amid the outrage over the club's decline. 53-54, Perez continued with the Galacticos policy pursued in his first term, buying Kaká from Milan for a record-breaking, in pound sterling, sum of £56 million, and then breaking the record again by purchasing Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United for £80 million. The 2009-10 season, however, was a transitional one as Madrid again finished second in the league, although this time amassing 96 points, the club's record at the time, and went out of the Champions League at the hands of Lyon. The season was marred by Cristiano Ronaldo's injury, that sidelined him for 7 weeks, although he still topped the goal-scoring charts with 33 goals, and Madrid became the highest-scoring team in La Liga, with 102 goals. Real Madrid also had the misfortune to become the runners-up with the highest points total in the history of Europe's top 5 leagues, until surpassed by Liverpool's 97 points in 2018-19, 58-59. Jose Mourinho took over as manager in May 2010. In the 2010-11 season, the rebuilt Madrid successfully fought on all fronts, going toe-to-toe with a brilliant Barcelona side which some regard as the greatest team in football history. Ultimately, Madrid finished second in the league, with 92 points and 4 behind their perennial rivals, defeated them in the Copa del Rey final, and lost to Barca in the Champions League semi-finals, where Real progressed for the first time since 2002-03. Moreover, from the 16th of April through the 3rd of May, a rare occurrence happened when, for the first time ever, 4 Clásicos were to be played in a span of just 18 days. The first fixture was in the league campaign on the 16th of April, which ended 1-1 with penalty goals for both sides. The second one was in the Copa del Rey final, which was won by Madrid 1-0 after extra time, bringing them their first trophy in the second Galactico era, on the 20th of April, and the third and fourth ones in the 2-legged Champions League semi-finals on the 27th of April and the 3rd of May. Barcelona won on aggregate with a 2-0 away victory and a 1-1 home draw. The matches in the Champions League proved the most controversial, as multiple refereeing decisions were harshly criticized by Mourinho and Madrid players who accused UEFA of favoring the Catalan side. Namely, Pepe's red card in the 61st minute of the first leg was questioned, after which Barcelona scored 2 goals, with Mourinho being ejected and subsequently banned for the second leg for protesting, and several controversial offside calls were made, as well as Real having a goal disallowed in the second leg, when the score was tied 0-0, 63-64. Madrid again became the highest-scoring team in La Liga, with 102 goals, repeating its output from the previous season, with Ronaldo scoring 40 and winning the European Golden Shoe. In the 2011-12 season, Real Madrid won La Liga for a record 32nd time in its history, also finishing the season with numerous league records set, including 100 points amassed in a single season, a total of 121 goals scored, a goal difference of +89, 16 away games won, and 32 wins overall. They also competed in the UEFA Champions League for the 15th successive season, losing in the semi-finals to Bayern Munich on penalties, after a 3-3 aggregate tie, in a heartbreaking fashion. Madrid entered the Copa del Rey as the defending champions, but lost 3-4 on aggregate in the quarter-finals to Barcelona. In the same season, Cristiano Ronaldo became the fastest player to reach 100 goals scored in Spanish league history. In reaching 101 goals in 92 games, Ronaldo surpassed Real Madrid legend Ferenc Puskás, who scored 100 goals in 105 matches. Ronaldo set a new club mark for individual goals scored in 1 year, 60, and became the first player ever to score against all 19 opposition teams in a single season. Real Madrid started the 2012-13 season by winning the Supercopa de España, defeating Barcelona on away goals. However, the Super Cup turned out to be their only trophy of the season, despite being close to win them all. Real finished runners-up to Barca in La Liga, accumulating 85 points, and reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League for the third year in a row, where they were eliminated by Borussia Dortmund 3-4 on aggregate. Madrid also entered the Copa del Rey in the round of 32, going on a memorable run to the final, which saw them defeat Barcelona in the semi-finals, including an emphatic 3-1 victory at Camp Nou, before losing to Atletico Madrid 1-2 AET in a heartbreaking fashion. Real Madrid faced the Blaugrana 6 times throughout the season, coming away with 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. A major transfer of the season was the signing of Luka Modric from Tottenham Hotspur for a fee in the region of £33 million. After a loss to Atletico in the Copa del Rey final, Perez announced the departure of Jose Mourinho at the end of the season by mutual agreement. Real Madrid players celebrate the club's historic 10th European Cup Champions League win, La Decima, in 2014. On the 25th of June, 2013, Carlo Ancelotti succeeded Mourinho to become the manager of Real Madrid on a 3-year deal, with Zinedine Zidane named as one of his assistants. On the 1st of September, 2013, the long-awaited transfer of Gareth Bale from Tottenham Hotspur was announced. The transfer of the Welshman was reportedly a new world record signing, with the transfer price approximated at €100 million. In Ancelotti's first season at the club, Real Madrid fought on all 3 fronts for the continental treble. Despite leading in the league campaign on multiple occasions, Madrid ultimately finished in 3rd place, level on points with Barcelona and 3 behind cross-city rivals Atletico Madrid, collecting 87 points in total and scoring a record 104 goals. By that time, Los Blancos had already secured the Copa del Rey against rivals Barcelona in April, with Bale scoring the winner. The major breakthrough came in the UEFA Champions League, where Real returned to the final after 12 years, having beaten defending champions Bayern Munich 5-0 on aggregate in the semi-finals. In the final, they defeated then-recent La Liga winners Atletico Madrid 4-1 AET to clinch their 10th European Cup, first since 2002. And become the first team to win 10 European Cups Champions League titles, an achievement known as the La Decima. Real's attacking trio of Bale, Benzema and Cristiano, dubbed the BBC, finished the season with 97 goals. After winning the 2014 Champions League, Real Madrid signed goalkeeper Keylor Navas, midfielder Toni Kroos, and attacking midfielder James Rodriguez. In August, Madrid won the 2014 UEFA Super Cup against Sevilla, the club's 79th official trophy. During the last week of the 2014 summer transfer window, Real Madrid sold 2 players key to the previous season's successes, Xabi Alonso to Bayern Munich and Angel Di Maria to Manchester United. This decision by the club was surrounded by controversy, with Cristiano Ronaldo stating, "If I was in charge, maybe I would have done things differently," while Carlo Ancelotti admitted, "We must start again from zero." After a slow start to the 2014-15 season, Real Madrid went on a record-breaking 22-match winning streak, which included wins against Barcelona and Liverpool, surpassing the previous Spanish record of 18 successive wins set by Frank Rijkaard's Barca in the 2005-06 season. In late December, Real Madrid won their first Club World Cup, defeating San Lorenzo 2-0 in the final. The winning streak came to an end in their opening match of 2015 with a loss to Valencia, leaving the club too short of equal. Jose Mourinho took over as manager in May 2010. In the 2010-11 season, the rebuilt Madrid successfully fought on all fronts, going toe-to-toe with a brilliant Barcelona side which some regard as the greatest team in football history. Ultimately, Madrid finished second in the league, with 92 points and 4 behind their perennial rivals, defeated them in the Copa del Rey final, and lost to Barca in the Champions League semi-finals, where Real progressed for the first time since 2002-03. Moreover, from the 16th of April through the 3rd of May, a rare occurrence happened when, for the first time ever, four Clásicos were to be played in a span of just 18 days. The first fixture was in the league campaign on the 16th of April, which ended 1-1 with penalty goals for both sides. The second one was in the Copa del Rey final, which was won by Madrid 1-0 after extra time, bringing them their first trophy in the second Galactico era, on the 20th of April, and the third and fourth ones in the two-legged Champions League semi-finals on the 27th of April and the 3rd of May. Barcelona won on aggregate with a 2-0 away victory and a 1-1 home draw. The matches in the Champions League proved the most controversial, as multiple refereeing decisions were harshly criticized by Mourinho and Madrid players who accused UEFA of favoring the Catalan side. Namely, Pepe's red card in the 61st minute of the first leg was questioned, after which Barcelona scored 2 goals, with Mourinho being ejected and subsequently banned for the second leg for protesting, and several controversial offside calls were made, as well as Real having a goal disallowed in the second leg, when the score was tied 0-0, 63-64. Madrid again became the highest scoring team in La Liga, with 102 goals, repeating its output from the previous season, with Ronaldo scoring 40 and winning the European Golden Shoe. In the 2011-12 season, Real Madrid won La Liga for a record 32nd time in its history, also finishing the season with numerous league records set, including 100 points amassed in a single season, a total of 121 goals scored, a goal difference of +89, 16 away games won, and 32 wins overall. They also competed in the UEFA Champions League for the 15th successive season, losing in the semi-finals to Bayern Munich on penalties, after a 3-3 aggregate tie, in a heartbreaking fashion. Madrid entered the Copa del Rey as the defending champions, but lost 3-4 on aggregate in the quarter-finals to Barcelona. In the same season, Cristiano Ronaldo became the fastest player to reach 100 goals scored in Spanish league history. In reaching 101 goals in 92 games, Ronaldo surpassed Real Madrid legend Ferenc Puskás, who scored 100 goals in 105 matches. Ronaldo set a new club mark for individual goals scored in 1 year, 60, and became the first player ever to score against all 19 opposition teams in a single season. Real Madrid started the 2012-13 season by winning the Supercopa de España, defeating Barcelona on away goals. However, the Super Cup turned out to be their only trophy of the season, despite being close to win them all. Real finished runners-up to Barca in La Liga, accumulating 85 points, and reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League for the third year in a row, where they were eliminated by Borussia Dortmund 3-4 on aggregate. Madrid also entered the Copa del Rey in the round of 32, going on a memorable run to the final, which saw them defeat Barcelona in the semi-finals, including an emphatic 3-1 victory at Camp Nou, before losing to Atletico Madrid 1-2 AET in a heartbreaking fashion. Real Madrid faced the Blaugrana 6 times throughout the season, coming away with 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. A major transfer of the season was the signing of Luka Modric from Tottenham Hotspur for a fee in the region of £33 million. After a loss to Atletico in the Copa del Rey final, Perez announced the departure of Jose Mourinho at the end of the season by mutual agreement. Real Madrid players celebrate the club's historic 10th European Cup Champions League win, La Decima, in 2014. On the 25th of June 2013, Carlo Ancelotti succeeded Mourinho to become the manager of Real Madrid on a 3-year deal, with Zinedine Zidane named as one of his assistants. On the 1st of September 2013, the long-awaited transfer of Gareth Bale from Tottenham Hotspur was announced. The transfer of the Welshman was reportedly a new world record signing, with the transfer price approximated at €100 million. In Ancelotti's first season at the club, Real Madrid fought on all 3 fronts for the continental treble. Despite leading in the league campaign on multiple occasions, Madrid ultimately finished in 3rd place, level on points with Barcelona and 3 behind cross-city rivals Atletico Madrid, collecting 87 points in total and scoring a record 104 goals. By that time, Los Blancos had already secured the Copa del Rey against rivals Barcelona in April, with Bale scoring the winner. The major breakthrough came in the UEFA Champions League, where Real returned to the final after 12 years, having beaten defending champions Bayern Munich 5-0 on aggregate in the semi-finals. In the final, they defeated then-recent La Liga winners Atletico Madrid 4-1 AET to clinch their 10th European Cup, first since 2002, and become the first team to win 10 European Cups Champions League titles, an achievement known as La Decima. Real's attacking trio of Bale, Benzema and Cristiano, dubbed the BBC, finished the season with 97 goals. After winning the 2014 Champions League, Real Madrid signed goalkeeper Keylor Navas, midfielder Toni Kroos, and attacking midfielder James Rodriguez. In August, Madrid won the 2014 UEFA Super Cup against Sevilla, the club's 79th official trophy. During the last week of the 2014 summer transfer window, Real Madrid sold two players key to the previous season's successes, Xabi Alonso to Bayern Munich and Angel Di Maria to Manchester United. This decision by the club was surrounded by controversy, with Cristiano Ronaldo stating, "If I was in charge, maybe I would have done things differently," while Carlo Ancelotti admitted, "We must start again from zero." After a slow start to the 2014-15 season, Real Madrid went on a record-breaking 22-match winning streak, which included wins against Barcelona and Liverpool, surpassing the previous Spanish record of 18 successive wins set by Frank Rijkaard's Barca in the 2005-06 season. In late December, Real Madrid won their first Club World Cup, defeating San Lorenzo 2-0 in the final. The winning streak came to an end in their opening match of 2015 with a loss to Valencia, leaving the club too short of equaling the world record of 24 consecutive wins. Madrid was in contention for both the La Liga title and the UEFA Champions League until the very end, but ultimately came up short, finishing with 92 points in the league, 2 behind treble-winning Barcelona, and losing to Juventus 2-3 on aggregate in the Champions League semi-finals. Ronaldo finished the season scoring 48 league goals, winning his 4th European Golden Shoe, and 61 goals in all competitions, breaking his record from 2011-12. Overall, despite playing an attractive attacking football and being the highest scoring team in Europe with 118 league goals, several heartbreaking defeats meant that Real finished the season with 2 trophies out of 6 possible, which contributed to the dismissal of Carlo Ancelotti on the 25th of May 2015. On the 3rd of June 2015, Rafael Benitez was confirmed as the new Real Madrid manager for the 2015-16 season, signing a 3-year contract. Real Madrid remained unbeaten in the league until a 3-2 loss at Sevilla on the matchday 11. This was followed by a 0-4 home loss in the first Clásico of the season against Barcelona. Perhaps, his reign is best remembered by multiple lopsided wins achieved both in La Liga and the Champions League, 6-0 vs Espanyol, 8-0 vs Malmo, 10-2 vs Rayo Vallecano and others. In the Copa del Rey round of 32, Real accidentally fielded an ineligible player Denis Cheryshev in a 3-1 first leg away win against Cadiz. Cheryshev was suspended from the previous season for 3 yellow cards, when he was representing a different team, but played the game nonetheless due to an accounting mistake by Madrid officials. Real was disqualified from the 2015-16 Copa del Rey 2 days later by the competition judge, despite protests from President Perez, 92, 93, 94. In the meantime, Real comfortably topped their UCL group with 16 points and a +16 goal difference. Benitez was relieved of his duties on the 4th of January 2016 following allegations of unpopularity with supporters, displeasure with players and a failure to get good results against top teams. 95. Benitez's departure was announced along with the promotion of Zinedine Zidane to his first head coaching role. Under Zidane, Madrid managed to turn the odds in its favor, ultimately winning the Champions League, something no one expected. The notable results include a 2-1 away victory over reigning treble winners Barcelona, who were on a record-breaking winning streak, a fantastic comeback against Wolfsburg in the Champions League quarter-finals. After losing the away game 0-2, Madrid erased the deficit and won 3-0 at home, courtesy of a Cristiano Ronaldo hat-trick, as well as a 12-game winning streak to conclude the league campaign, meaning Real finished second, with 90 points and just 1 point behind champions Barcelona, coming agonizingly close to clinching the title and overcoming a 12-point deficit in the process. Finally, on the 28th of May, Real Madrid's 11th Champions League title was won thanks to a 5-3 penalty shootout victory over rivals Atletico Madrid after a 1-1 draw in the final, with the achievement being termed La Undécima. 2016-17 La Liga champions Real Madrid celebrate the title with Community of Madrid president Cristina Cifuentes. Real Madrid began their 2016-17 campaign, which was to be Zidane's first full season in charge of the club, with a victory in the 2016 UEFA Super Cup against Sevilla. On the 10th of December 2016, Madrid played their 35th straight match without a loss, which set a new club record. On the 18th of December 2016, the club defeated Japanese outfit Kashima Antlers 4-2 in the final of the 2016 FIFA Club World Cup. With a 3-3 draw at Sevilla in the second leg of the Copa del Rey round of 16 on the 12th of January 2017, Madrid progressed to the quarter-finals with a 6-3 aggregate victory and extended its unbeaten run to 40 matches, breaking Barcelona's Spanish record of 39 matches unbeaten in all competitions from the previous season. Their unbeaten streak ended after a 1-2 away loss against the same opposition in La Liga 3 days later. The team then was knocked out of the Copa del Rey by Celta Vigo 3-4 on aggregate. These slips, however, did not affect the overall trajectory of the season. In May, Madrid won the league title for a record 33rd time, their first title in 5 years, accumulating 93 points in the process. On the 3rd of June 2017, the club's victory over Juventus in the Champions League final resulted in Real Madrid becoming the first team to successfully defend their title in the UEFA Champions League era, and the first to win consecutive titles in the competition since Milan in 1989 and 1990, when the tournament was known as the European Cup. Real Madrid's title was its 12th, extending the record, and its third in 4 years. The achievement is also known as La Duodecima. The 2016-17 season was the greatest campaign in terms of trophies won, 4 out of possible 5, in the history of Real Madrid, an achievement that would be later equaled in the 2017-18 season. Real kicked off the 2017-18 campaign by winning its second consecutive and fourth overall UEFA Super Cup in a 2-1 victory against Manchester United. 5 days later, Real Madrid beat Barcelona at the Camp Nou 3-1 in the first leg of the 2017 Supercopa de España and then defeated Barca 2-0 in the return leg, ending their 24 consecutive match scoring record in El Clasico matches and winning the second trophy of the season. On the 16th of December 2017, Real beat Brazilian club Grêmio 1-0 in the FIFA Club World Cup final and became the first team to retain the trophy. On the 24th of January 2018, Madrid was knocked out of the Copa del Rey at the quarter-final stage by Leganés on away goals. The team's league campaign was also a disappointment as Real collected only 76 points and finished third, 17 points behind champions Barcelona. Madrid fared far better in the Champions League, once again progressing to the final where they defeated Liverpool 3-1 to become the first club to win 3 straight titles in the Champions League era, as well as the first team to win 3 consecutive titles in the European Cup Champions League since Bayern Munich in 1976. The trophy also marked Madrid's 4th win in 5 years and their 8th consecutive semi-final appearance. On the 31st of May, only 5 days after winning the final, Zidane announced his resignation as Real Madrid manager, citing the club's need for change as his rationale for departing. Madrid ended the season with 4 trophies out of possible 6. Zidane's and Ronaldo's departures marked the end of the second Galactico era that yielded 4 Champions League titles, 2 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Rey, 2 Supercopa de España, 3 UEFA Super Cups, and 3 FIFA Club World Cup titles. The team was instrumental in ending Barcelona's dominance, despite the Blaugrana boasting arguably the greatest collection of talent in history, and overshadowed the Catalans on the European stage. Real Madrid was also somewhat notoriously unlucky in its league campaigns throughout these 9 years, finishing runners-up with 96, 92, twice, and 90 points, as well as on 87 points in third place, just 3 off the league winners. Following Ronaldo's departure, on the 12th of June, Real Madrid named Julen Lopetegui, the head coach of the Spain national team, as their new manager. It was announced that he would officially begin his managerial duties after the 2018 FIFA World Cup. However, the Spain national team sacked Lopetegui a day prior to the tournament, stating that he had negotiated terms with the club without informing them. 117, 118, 119. The club then began aggressively reshaping the squad in the summer of 2018, which included the sale of Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus for a reported €117 million. Madrid began their 2018-19 campaign by losing to Atletico Madrid 2-4 AET in the 2018 UEFA Super Cup. After a disgraceful 1-5 loss to Barcelona in El Clasico on the 28th of October, which left Real Madrid in the 9th place with only 14 points after 10 games, Lopetegui was dismissed a day later and replaced by then Castilla coach, Santiago Solari. On the 22nd of December 2018, Real Madrid beat Al Ain by a 4-1 margin in the FIFA Club World Cup final. With their win, Real Madrid became the outright record winners of the Club World Cup with 4 titles. They are considered to have been the world champions for grand total of 7 times because FIFA officially recognizes the Intercontinental Cup as the predecessor of the FIFA Club World Cup. They also extended the record for most consecutive titles with their 3rd in a row. Solari won 10 out his first 13 La Liga matches, but the team started to struggle again soon after that. First, they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey at the semi-final stage by Barcelona, losing 0-3 at home on the 27th of February 2019 after a 1-1 away draw in the first leg. Then there was another El Clasico a few days later, this time in the league, and Madrid lost a home game to Barca, 0-1. Finally, on the 5th of March 2019, Real was thumped by Ajax 1-4, 3-5 on aggregate, in a home game, crashing out of the Champions League at the round of 16 stage after 8 consecutive semi-finals appearances. On the 11th of March 2019, Real Madrid dismissed Solari and reinstated Zidane as the head coach of the club. Madrid went on to win 5, draw 2 and lose 4 remaining league matches under Zidane, finishing 3rd with 68 points, 12 losses and a +17 goal difference, making it Real's worst points total since 2001-02 and worst goal difference since 1999-2000. The club won 1 out of 5 possible trophies in one of the most disastrous seasons in its modern history. The 2019-20 season seemed a promising one, as Madrid went on a spending spree in the summer of 2019, signing Eden Hazard, Luka Jovic, Eder Militao, Ferland Mendy, Rodrigo, Rainier and other players for a total of more than €350 million. On the 12th of January 2020, Madrid beat cross-city rivals Atletico Madrid in a penalty shootout in the Supercopa de España final to win their 11th title. On the 6th of February 2020, Madrid was eliminated by Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey quarter-finals, losing 3-4 at home, 128, after a 3-month hiatus due to the COVID-19 outbreak in March 2020. La Liga was restarted in June and Madrid won 10 games in a row to capture the team's 34th league title, collecting 87 points in total. Madrid played the postponed second leg of the Champions League round of 16 against Manchester City in August, losing 1-2, 2-4 on aggregate, at the Etihad and being eliminated at the first knockout stage for the second consecutive year. As such, Real ended the season with 2 trophies out of possible 4. From La Liga's resumption in June and until the end of the 2020-21 season, Madrid temporarily played home fixtures at the Alfredo Di Stéfano Stadium, while the Santiago Bernabéu underwent extensive renovations.